Welcome back to the 18-yard box. Today, we're going to look at an Argentine gem of a footballer who has already won everything at the age of 24. Julián Álvarez has been a great asset for club and country, but struggled to grow out of Erling Haaland's shadow at Manchester City and get regular game time in his preferred position, causing him to seek more minutes elsewhere. Atletico Madrid have agreed a blockbuster €95 million deal to bring Álvarez to the capital, but this isn't his first time in Madrid. To understand Julián's special relationship to his new home and how he became the player he is today, we need to go back to his childhood. The global superstar comes from a small town in the province of Córdoba in Argentina. 𝐥𝐤𝐤, more precisely, a city of 2,500, is where Julián was born and made his first steps in football, joining the local side Club Atlético 𝐥𝐤𝐤. Julián's speed and small stature gave him an almost unfair ability to hold onto the ball at times, to the point where locals said it looked like he had multiple legs, as if he were a spider. And thus, his nickname, La Araña, was born. He became a regional sensation, generating attention from top clubs around Argentina. A young Julián showed little interest in leaving home, despite earning trials at River Plate and Boca Juniors, Argentina's two biggest clubs. This buzz eventually crossed the Atlantic, with Real Madrid offering him a trial at the age of 11. Julián shone on trial, scoring multiple goals as he helped Los Blancos lift a youth cup. Despite this incredible performance, Real would need his entire family to relocate to Spain in order to sign Julián to their youth setup, as he was below the age of 13. Due to financial constraints and a general desire to remain in Argentina from the star boy, Julián stayed put in 𝐥𝐤𝐤. After a few more years of tearing local opposition to shreds, Julián had a change of heart aged 15 and was open to leaving 𝐥𝐤𝐤 to join a bigger club's boarding academy. Offers poured in, but ultimately, La Araña would head to River, a side he had always dreamed of joining. Once in Buenos Aires, Álvarez shot up the ranks, making the first team within only 2 years of joining the academy, with a €15 million release clause inserted into his first pro contract. Álvarez nicked an assist in his first start in 2018 and was slowly but surely earning the trust of his manager, Marcelo Gallardo. It would turn out that Álvarez had broken into the first team at just the right time, because River Plate's next match was a special one. Not only were they facing their arch-rivals Boca Juniors, but it was in the Copa Libertadores final second leg, taking place at the Santiago Bernabéu, no less. Lifting the trophy at the end of this final meant eternal bragging rights for Los Millonarios, but they went 1-0 down at the start of the first half. River equalized in the second, and with the score tied at 1-1, the game was headed to extra time. 18-year-old Julián Álvarez replaced the tired legs of Ezequiel Palacios at the start of extra time and sent a left-footed shot blazing over the bar, immediately making an impact. In the second half of extra time, River were threatening at the edge of Boca's box as Julián laid a pass off to his right back, who cut it back for Juanfer Quintero, who scored the go-ahead goal. The Bernabéu erupted, and eternal glory was 11 minutes away for Julián Álvarez. After 11 minutes that lasted an eternity, River grabbed another goal to make it 3-1, as Julián had conquered the Americas in only his 5th senior appearance, in a stadium he could have called home had he made a different choice in 2011. Shortly after the triumph, Álvarez earned an assist in the Club World Cup at Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi off the bench, continuing to show up when called upon. This performance earned him his first call-up to the U20 national team for Argentina, where he bagged 3 goals and an assist in 8 matches. When the Argentine season resumed in early 2019, the 19-year-old Álvarez was proven to be a dynamic weapon off the bench, bagging his first competitive goal against Independiente in March. His first start in the Copa Libertadores was electric, as Julián scored a clever goal and hit his now iconic Spider-Man celebration for the first time ever. Julián also assisted a stoppage-time equalizer that game, showing incredible composure for a teenager. At the end of 2019, Álvarez bagged another goal in the final of the Copa Argentina as he added another piece of silverware to his collection. Julián was called up for international duty again in early 2020, this time to help the U23s qualify for the Olympics. The albiceleste did so in style, while Julián finished with 3 goal contributions, proving critical to the national team setup. The outbreak of COVID-19 led to long suspensions in the Argentine football calendar beginning in March. When play finally resumed in August, Julián emerged as a starter for Gallardo's side, especially in the absence of Ezequiel Palacios, who had departed for Bayer Leverkusen. Julián tore apart the Copa Libertadores in 2020, grabbing 5 goals and an assist in 5 group stage matches. His game time decreased later in the tournament as the demands of the domestic season grew, causing Julián to see more time in the league. He was ultimately unable to make his mark for River in 2020 despite showing glimpses of brilliance. A goal and an assist in the Supercopa Argentina was a strong start to 2021. Add to that 7-goal contributions in the league by April, May was set to be a big month for the youngster. Lionel Scaloni named Julián Álvarez as part of his 23-man list for the June CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. 𝐤𝐤𝐤 made his debut for the senior national team against Chile, coming on for Ángel Di María at right wing with the iconic number 9 on his back. They only managed a 1-1 draw, but the 21-year-old held his own. His intensity and the fluidity in his play were impressive for his age. There's also the small fact that he finally got to play alongside his childhood idol, Lionel Messi, and the two showed great chemistry, generating optimism around the squad just before the Copa America. Julián stayed on board for the continent's oldest tournament, and even got on the pitch for 34 minutes against Bolivia in the last group stage match. As we all know now, Argentina won the 2021 Copa America, and Álvarez joined Messi in celebrating Argentina's first international trophy in nearly 30 years. Comparisons between the two grew, not only for their style of play on the pitch, but for their quiet and humble demeanor off it. The vote of confidence from Scaloni seemed to light a fire in Julián. He improved as the league season went on, earning 7 goals and 4 assists in 11 games by October when he grabbed his first career hat-trick against San Lorenzo on the 17th, just as fans were beginning to return to the stands. The first and third goals were gorgeous, helping River to a 3-1 win. This hot streak continued as Julián contributed to a goal in 8 straight games before going silent in a 1-1 draw against Estudiantes. La Araña came back with a vengeance, with 4 poachers' goals past Patronato as River's hot streak continued. Los Millonarios would go on to lift the league title thanks to a monumental 18 goals and 7 assists from Julián Álvarez. Not only were the numbers eye-watering, but at the age of 21, Julián had shown the versatility to play anywhere across the front line, score any kind of goal, and provide a variety of assists with a pressing intensity that was impossible for the opposition to cope with. He was now a regular in Scaloni's Argentina and had drawn considerable attention from top clubs in Europe. Manchester City won the race to sign him for a modest 17 million euros in January of 2022, but loaned him back to River until the end of the European season. River dominated their Libertadores group in 2022, heading into the final match day against Alianza Lima at home, looking to make a statement before the knockouts. Julián grabbed a first-half hat-trick, at which point most players would be satisfied, especially given the quality of the goals scored. But Julián's appetite for goals knows no bounds, as he scored 3 more in the second half, each one a showcase of his versatility and insane quality on the ball. Julián is the only player in River Plate's 123-year history to score 6 goals in a game, an honor which rightfully earned him worldwide media attention. Pair that with 8 goals and 2 assists in the league by late May, and Manchester City were ready to welcome him with open arms in July. You see, there had been a striker-shaped hole in the Man City roster since the departure of 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 in 2021, which Julián seemed primed to fill when he agreed to terms in January. The situation had changed significantly by the summer though, as City signed Erling Haaland for 60 million euros, all but immediately relegating Julián to backup. The Norwegian had an uncharacteristically weak showing in the Community Shield, but La Araña cleaned up nicely, scoring a scrappy goal to tie the game at 1-1. Liverpool responded with 2 late goals to take home the trophy, and, for a brief moment in time, make Darwin Núñez look like the signing of the summer. But when the Premier League finally kicked off, Haaland was the undisputed starter as Julián remained primarily a rotation option despite his quickness to adapt to the rigor of the Prem. He had 3 goals in only 357 minutes of Premier League action going into the World Cup break. By comparison, Haaland had 18 goals in 1,041 minutes. Julián was proving useful in cup competitions though, seeing out the full 90 in 4 of City's Champions League group stage games, earning 2 goals and 2 assists, while also grabbing a goal in the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. Argentina came into the Qatar World Cup as an outside favorite, given their triumph at the Copa America the year prior. Their first match against Saudi Arabia inspired little excitement. Julián came off the bench for the last half hour, but wasn't able to turn the result in Argentina's favor. Their second match against Mexico was equally uninspiring, until Julián was subbed on in the 63rd, bringing his trademark speed and intensity. The very next minute, Lionel Messi rifled a long shot past Ochoa, and fellow River Academy alum Enzo Fernandez grabbed the dagger 20 minutes later. That energy up front that Julián provided encouraged Scaloni to start him for a must-win against Poland. Despite failing to score in a dominant first-half performance, Argentina got one just after the break, and Julián put a second past 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐻 with a glorious finish, assisted by none other than Enzo Fernandez. Scaloni had found his winning formula, and it called for Julián Álvarez starting up top because of his relentless pressure out of possession. In fact, Julián nicked a goal against Australia by capitalizing on a goalkeeping error that he helped force, proving his value to the team. His intensity was well suited to a spicy game against the Netherlands in the quarters, but the semis against Croatia was where Julián Álvarez announced himself on the world stage and fully brought into question his spot on the Manchester City bench. He was wiped out by the Croatian keeper on his way into the box, earning a penalty dispatched by Messi. Álvarez picked the ball up in his own half in the 39th, and this time refused to be stopped on his way to an unreal solo goal. Some Messi magic in the 69th created an easy finish for Julián's second, and La Araña had sealed his country's place in the World Cup final. Though he didn't score or assist, his pressure was crucial in creating the turnover for Argentina's second goal against France, and when it was all said and done, Julián was a world champion at 22, which he celebrated like no other. When he got back to Manchester, Álvarez saw more time on the pitch, but was still preferred as a rotation option by Guardiola, which City desperately needed as they were competing on all fronts. Julián came up big in the FA Cup, where he started most games and finished with 3 goals and 2 assists. Despite these contributions, he was benched for the final, as he often was during big games in favor of more experienced players, despite the level he showed he's capable of at the World Cup. Álvarez only came on for the last minute against Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League and still scored a goal, making him the youngest player ever to score at that stage of the competition, though again, he would not see the pitch in the final. City of course completed their historic treble, and Julián did his part with 17 goals and 5 assists in all competitions, but there was always the sense that he was being wasted as a rotation player. He would walk into the starting 11 at any other club in the world. For reference, Haaland finished 2nd in 2023 Ballon d'Or voting. Julián finished 7th. There were some murmurs that Julián wanted to leave for more playing time in the summer of 2023, but he stayed put for City's treble defense. Julián started the opening game of the 23-24 season as a striker against Burnley, and an injury to Kevin De Bruyne opened up a spot on the pitch for him to occupy, as the Belgian would be sidelined for about 5 months. Julián stepped up in his absence, albeit out of position, and became an integral part of City's starting lineup. When Haaland had an injury bout in December, Julián got to play as the striker, grabbing 2 goals and an assist in the Norwegian's absence. When Haaland was in the team, Julián was primarily playing behind the striker, sometimes used on the wing or in midfield. Even though he was playing regularly and churning out quality performances, he was ultimately still second fiddle to Haaland with 19 goals and 13 assists in all competitions. City won their 4th Premier League in a row, and Julián was a crucial part of that, seeing 2,659 minutes of Prem action compared to 1,454 the year before. La Araña remained the starting number 9 for the albiceleste in the Copa America, despite a great tournament from Inter Milan's Lautaro Martinez, casting further doubt towards his future in Manchester as a handyman and backup striker. Consequently, rumors of a summer transfer began to swirl as Álvarez reportedly told City he needed more game time, which Pep begrudgingly accepted. A unique opportunity appeared in the form of Atlético Madrid, who are splurging on transfers this summer with the signings of Robin Lenormand, Alexander Sorloth, and Conor Gallagher. Julián Álvarez's transfer value is around 90 million euros at the moment, meaning that any move for him would be pricey, but Atleti desperately need a reliable striker following the departure of Álvaro Morata and considerable drama with their last big money signing, João Felix. The Portuguese wonder kid's career falling off a cliff may have deterred Diego Simeone's side from investing heavily into the position, but Álvarez is a far more polished product than Felix, which justifies the 75 million euro fee with 20 million euros in add-ons that they're set to send Manchester City's way for his services. While their crosstown rivals are building a super team thanks to the arrival of Mbappe, Atleti aim to remain competitive with players who fit their ethos. Julián's raw speed and remarkable work rate off the ball will suit Simeone's tactics nicely, and we could be in for a cracking season in La Liga. What do you make of this move? Will Manchester City have a hard time finding a quality replacement? Let me know in the comments below. This has been the 18-Yard Box. We'll catch you in the next one.